Hey everyone, it's Andrew. So this is going to be a review of the Zassenhaus Santiago coffee mill grinder, which is this grinder here. I wanted to just do a review on this because I've had this coffee grinder for about 3 years and I absolutely love this thing. Purchased about 3 years ago when I was getting into like pour over coffee, and this was the grinder I went with at that time. So I just want to do a video of kind of the basic features of the coffee grinder. I'll get some close-up views of it, bring the camera in closer for that. And then what we'll do is do the separate grinds with the coffee grinder to show you the extent of the types of grinds you can get with it. I've done separate videos in the past on both the pour-over method as well as French press type technique for coffee making as well. If you're interested in those videos, please look at them as well. But for now, what I'm going to do is bring the camera a little bit closer so you can get a closer look at the coffee grinder itself, and then we'll do a couple grinds with this as well. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here is the Zassenhaus Santiago coffee mill grinder. This is the mahogany version, so this is that color, but it comes also in black and this kind of beige color. I think only on Amazon right now you can get the beige or black. I'll put a link in the description below. Otherwise, I purchased this I think through the website for Zassenhaus directly about 3 years ago, and I really like this color because it's got this mahogany color as well as the gold trim or for the like mechanical portion of it. A little bit background: Zassenhaus has been around for years, generations. It's a German company. All of their coffee mill grinders are backed by a 25-year warranty, so if any of the mechanisms on the coffee grinder break within that 25-year time period, they'll replace it for free. Just a little bit of details about this. So with the Santiago model, essentially at the top here, you're going to have this opening door kind of mechanism where you can pour the coffee directly into the top here, and then the grinding mechanism is kind of in the bottom there. And so the coffee will fall into this portion and then grind here, and then once it's ground, it'll kind of fall into this tray here. A little bit about the top. It's got a mechanism that allows you to change the coarseness of the grind. So if you lower this mechanism all the way to the bottom like it is now, it'll be more of a coarse grind, something you would use for like French press. Meanwhile, if you raise it up by twisting it, I guess that would be counterclockwise. It raises it up and it makes a finer grind. When you get it all the way to the top, it's actually to the grind, like the level of grind that you would use for Turkish coffee, so it gets very finely ground. But you have to find, kind of depending on your personal taste and preference, the level of coarseness of the grind you want. So it's an easy screw mechanism. You don't have to take anything on or off or anything like that. You just screw it up or down. As far as changing the coarseness and the fineness of this. And then at the top there's this wooden handle attached to this metal mechanism that you kind of use in a clockwise fashion to grind the coffee grinds once they're in the container. And then everything comes out at the bottom here. This is just like one solid piece of wood tray one solid piece of wood that comes out as a tray. And then it's hard to tell with the darkness, but essentially at the top here there's this like plastic cup that drops the grinds into here. A lot of times you'll have to kind of shake it out because it'll get stuck there, or you can use like an Expresso brush like this brush to get it out directly. I tend to kind of shake it out like this, and then at the end I'll kind of brush into the bottom and clean it out that way. As far as the rest of the features on it, it has this Zassenhaus label on the front that matches the kind of the gold and mahogany design, and then it's one solid block of wood. So this is all wood, literally one giant piece of wood, which is really nice. It's a very solid design. It's not going to break or anything like that. You could probably drop this on the floor and it won't break either. So even with that 25-year warranty, I don't think you could ever have an issue. I think the biggest problem would be if the grinding mechanism itself either broke for some reason, where this clasp mechanism broke, or the grinding mechanism became dull for some reason. I think that's the only reason why it would break over the long term. But that's pretty much all the features. It's a really nice coffee maker as far as design, elegance. It's really nice as far as like the fact that it's hand grinding. Other people who would want an electronic grinder probably won't like this because it takes some time to actually grind the coffee using this mechanism. But I really appreciate it because even while I'm grinding it, I can kind of change the fineness or coarseness depending on my personal preference and what I'm using it for. And I don't know, there's like a certain elegance or personal feel of grinding your coffee yourself freshly whenever you're making a cup of coffee. So that's kind of it as far as the coffee grinder itself. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, this is just Trader Joe's Sumatra coffee. I've actually been drinking this coffee I think over 10 years now. It's like my go-to coffee. Whenever you go to a Trader Joe's, they usually have this. It's about like $7. Hasn't changed in price in all those years. And it comes in like full grind, full beans. There's like a kind of airtight seal on the top when you first get it. But this is my go-to coffee whenever I'm drinking coffee. It's cheap, affordable, and it's a really nice blend. Doesn't make me, at least, edgy from caffeine. What I'm going to do is essentially use the coffee grinder with different coarseness. Start out like the least coarse, and then what we'll do is do like a one turn of the coarseness to show you the different level of grind that you get with this, and we'll just do one scoop at a time. So right now it's currently set up so that the coffee grinder is at the bottom. We'll take one scoop of this, add it in, and then grind it. For this video specifically, I'm not gonna fast forward anything as far as when I'm grinding it. The purpose of that is just to get you guys as a viewer to understand how long it typically takes to grind the coffee depending on the coarseness or fineness, because that's good to know, just because some of you might not want to kind of wait that long if it takes too long. But in general, when it's more coarse, it grinds very quickly, but when it's more fine, it takes a much longer time. So you'll see as this video goes that as I make it more fine when I'm grinding, it'll take longer to do just because the fineness of it. But that's a nice feature, but it's drawback if it takes too long. But if you're interested in just fast forwarding as you do that, just click to the next segment. I'll try to do like different chapters so you can kind of skip ahead if you really want to while I'm grinding it. So this is the lowest setting. I'll just grind this right now. And that's it for that, because it's literally very coarse. So if you can tell, sorry, my camera sometimes autofocuses a little bit, but that's a very coarse grind right there. All right, and then what we'll do is just put this on the table here. So that's one. Now what we're going to do is just twist this counterclockwise about 360 degrees. And then we're going to put another scoop in. So it took a little bit longer, but let me just kind of slide the current grinds a little bit over. Now, there's not too much a difference. It's kind of subtle, but hopefully you can see it on the camera there. Alright, and then we'll put this right next to this. And then we'll turn it again counterclockwise, another 360 degrees. Pour another scoop. As you can tell, it takes a little bit longer each time. And so that's kind of like 2 whole turns from the bottom. So definitely more fine compared to the prior one. So I'll put that over here. Alright, then we'll turn it another 360 and go. like 4 turns from the bottom. As you can tell, you're starting to get much more fine compared to where we started. It'll be nice to see the side-by-side comparison at the end. That's when you'll see a big difference. Okay. I'll turn another 360. Again, let me just have the camera focus. So that's even finer than the last one. Sorry, this cutting board's kind of short. Ideally it'd be like put them side by side, like directly. So let's turn another 360. Even the sound's different. Like, we're almost at the top. I'll see if we can get one more out of this. This will take a while though. It's kind of the fineness there. Right, put that there. It's much more powdery at that level. And we'll see if we can get one more turn out of this. Let me see. Yeah, we'll just go as tight as it can go. That's kind of tight. I can't turn it anymore. I think it might be on TV. Almost. There we go. That's the finest you'll get as far as with this coffee maker. And what we'll do is just kind of slide this over a little bit and put that right over there. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to try to do is zoom in the camera, bear with me, and so you can see kind of like a side-by-side comparison. Bear with this because a lot of times the camera will autofocus on this. So what we got here is, so essentially this is the most coarse, okay? This is the next step up, right? This is like the next step up from there. And then this one down here, sorry, we'll zoom out a little bit, and those are the last 3, like here, here, and here. So as you can tell, this coffee grinder is really nice as far as you get this like a very good variation in the coarseness you can get from it just by adjusting it up or down. So that's why I really like it a lot, depending on what you're using it for. Overall, I tend to use a pour-over method. I went over that in other videos. for a pour over method, I tend to kind of stick with the coarseness here, like this range here, as far as getting a good quality pour over out of it. When you get too fine, it just kind of sits in the actual coffee grinds and it doesn't really go through, and it takes a long time for that. So I find that about this coarseness works really well for that. If I'm doing something like a French press, I'll lean more towards this level of coarseness, probably this, like second from the bottom, just because I've tried with the most coarse version of it, and it tends to just wash out and doesn't get good flavor from it, but like a step up usually helps with that. So that's kind of the extent of the coarseness you can get with it. I think that's really everything I can say about this coffee grinder. One thing is, like, if I'm doing sorry, let me loosen it. If I'm doing a pour over coffee, I've gone over this in other videos, but usually I do fill this up once and then do about 2 scoops extra, which puts it about 5 to 6 scoops total, and I grind that entirely. So if you kind of pick in the middle of the range where it's like this much, this was 1 scoop, so if you take that time period it took me to grind that 1 scoop, if you multiply that by about 5, that gives you the total time it takes to grind with this coffee grinder. In general, it does take a little bit longer than like a hand grinder or a mechanical grinder or electric grinder, but I really like this coffee grinder a lot, which is why I'm doing this video. You can get it on the Zassenhaus website. I'll put some links on Amazon as well. If you have any questions or comments about it, I'd be happy to answer, but I think it's a great coffee grinder. I recommend it to anybody else interested in something like this, and please like and subscribe my videos. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Bye.